Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Beautiful spring day here today. We did have a good frost last night, though, but everything looks pretty good. The magnolias got hit, but that's just typical. um, so this is speaking of magnolias. This is what we did last week, and this was done on scrapbook paper. So you can check that out. There is a full tutorial for this. And if you're a member of my YouTube membership or Patreon membership, there is printables for these, so you don't have to draw it yourself. Now, today, I've just got this old, I haven't worked in this for ages. This is one of those Diane Reevely books that I got years ago. Let's see. Is there a date in here? This is a very old book. I kind of just bring it out every once in a while. Oh my gosh, it must be really old because I don't see any dates. Oh, 2013. So, and I only have a few pages left, so I want to finish this up. So I thought we could do a little bit of lessons for beginners, or if you're just getting back into painting. I know a lot of us kind of put it away for a while and then we get curious again and we start bringing it out. But if you don't do it for months or years on end, you forget. At least I do. And so I thought it might be a good way of helping those that not too sure what they used to do. Or maybe I do it in a different way. Might be a little bit of a different technique that you didn't see before. You're always learning. Doesn't matter how uh, advanced you are in your art, you could always learn something. I got a lot of dog hair. So I'm just putting out, it's starting to go, so I'm going to see if it's any good. This is cerulean blue hue. This is some titanium white. And I thought I'd start out with artist grade, and then we could probably try some with the craft paint too. I use a lot of craft paint in my journals because they don't stick then. Craft paint is matte typically finish, but your artist grade acrylic paints are usually shiny, and therefore when you close your book and put it in a bookcase somewhere, it's going to stick unless you put some wax paper or some kind of a matte finish on it. Now, I haven't done any kind of matte gel on here or any kind of a gesso. Now, what happens is your paint will, what they say, drag because it seeps right into those fibers of your paper because it's not primed. So best to put a little bit of, this is just gesso, and that way your paint sits on top and it's a little easier to move your um, painting with your brush after this is dry. So I usually, not always, but usually if I'm just going to do painting on paper, which I do a lot of, I just prefer it. I I like to practice before I do a canvas, Or I might just be in the mood to create something, but I don't want to work on a canvas. Then I'll work in my sketchbooks or journal books, whatever I have. Or a lot of the times I prefer working on file folders because they don't um, warp. They stay nice and flat, and nothing seeps through. They don't pill. So they're a great alternative if you're wanting to just create something, but not necessarily want to use a canvas. Okay, so we'll dry this and we'll start doing some clouds. So if you have any ideas, if you're learning acrylics for the first time, or maybe you're getting back into it, if there's something you would be interested in learning, please leave a comment down below and I'll put it on my list. And that helps me know what to plan for in future streams and videos. So, for example, maybe you want to learn more about flowers or drawing petals or grass or backgrounds, birds, feathers, fur, hair, that type of thing. So just let me know and I'll be glad to work up a plan for that, and you'll see it in the future. So I want to make sure this is good and dry. I didn't put a huge amount on there, but it should be good enough. So we have cerulean blue, a little bit of dioxazine purple, and titanium white. So typically, let me see if I have, I want a brush. There it is. I just want a brush, a flat brush to start off with. So these are just very inexpensive plaid brushes. You can get them at Michael's, or most craft places will have them. And I think it's could be a 1 inch or 3/4. And typically when you're doing a sky, it's a little bit darker blue on the top, and as you go down to the horizon line, it gets lighter. Not drastically lighter, but there is a difference. So what I like to do, I don't know, I might have to get rid of this. It's kind of, see how it's kind of spongy? That's not a good sign. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that and get another color. That's paint that has gone bad. It kind of looks like cottage cheese, but it won't go on your painting properly, so best to use something else. So I'm just gonna get another color here. Go with ultramarine blue, or there's so many different colors you can use for the sky. You don't have to stick to one specific color. Okay, I have ultramarine. Hopefully this one's good. We'll see. Is it? Or is that looking bad? Just, let me see. I think that one's gone too. Well, that is terrible. See what happens when you don't use your stuff? Yep, that's bad too. So those are two going for the garbage. All right. I find, I don't know why, but I find um, Liquitex to go bad quicker. I don't know if anyone else has found that, but let's see. Phthalo blue or here's cerulean blue. Okay, here's some Atelier cerulean blue. There, yeah, that's better. Nice and smooth, not chunky. And get a baby wipe. Clean my fingers off. So there's many different types of clouds. We'll we'll try a couple different ones. And there's many ways of doing this. So depending on how detailed you want to go will depend on how much work you spend on it. So I have okay, this is the cerulean, or no, it's phthalo blue, sorry, phthalo blue. So phthalo blue, and I think I'm going to have to put some white with that because it's going to be a little crazy color. Phthalo blue is very, very. I'm going to mix a little bit of water with that. So I'm just going to do half the page for this one. Just mix a bit of water with your brush, and then you can get the color down a little bit further. Now, if I didn't put gesso on my page, it would be sticking, harder to move. Let's add a little bit more white. And just down here, I want to add some white with that, just to lighten it. Actually add a little bit more of the phthalo up there, just to darken it. It doesn't have to be a huge difference though. You don't want to see like almost a midnight color up there. Just a bit. Okay. You're going to put a little bit more water. You have to work kind of fast when you're first putting this one layer on. And blend it in like that. Bring my book down a little bit. Now, when you're doing clouds, we have to dry this first. You don't want to work on it wet. Some people do, but I don't prefer that. So when you're working on clouds, I prefer using a bit of a stiffer brush. So if you have a bristle brush and probably something that's not brand new though, scruffier the better, because you're able to put those clouds in a little bit easier when it's a little bit scruffier for some reason. Now you could use a flat or a round whatever you have. Filbert would work too. Something stiff. If you don't have a bristle, then find your stiffest brush you have. I'm just looking for mine. For some reason, I can't find it. I guess I'll use this one. Okay, so this is, it's not, see, it's how it's kind of flared. It's not the best brush, but it's great for doing clouds. And this is a number 4 Spectrum China 693. It's probably, I don't know where I got this one. So what we want to do, we're going to make some fairly poofy clouds in this one. So we want to take your white, and I like to add just a touch of purple, just a smidge to my white to start. Where'd that white go? I'm going to put another blob of white somewhere else, just so that when we want to use pure white, we'll have that ready. But you do want just an off color. You could actually use a bit of orange too, just the slightest hint of orange in it. Actually gives it a nice warm white. So now we want to just take our colored white, and what we want to do is work our way from the top to the bottom. Hey Danielle, we're doing some clouds. So when you're doing clouds, puffy clouds, you want to work kind of where they're the tops of them. And then I like to wipe some off of my brush and then just continue going down and around. And I'm just swirling my brush. And I'm going to keep swirling it until there's nothing left on my brush. And then you dab a little bit more on your brush and then continue and start doing the same thing again. Now you can leave a little bit of that blue there because that will give shadow to your clouds. And usually clouds don't have a puffy bottom. So keep the bottom part of your cloud area a little bit flat. I'm getting a little bit dry there. So I'm going to add some water to my brush. It's starting to drag a bit, which I don't want. So you see a little bit of shadow in that cloud. Sometimes you see a little bit of a line. Like that. Now what you want to do is you can add a little bit more blue to your color of white there. Just a bit though. Just down on the bottom here, add a little bit more of that blue in there. Kind of like a shadow. You can also add a little bit of purple. Let's just put a little bit of purple in there. I want it more grayed up. Usually it's a little bit darker on the bottom because of the shadows. So we'll have shadows in the clouds. That. Now you can get your pure white. And you can go back up here if you want. And just swirl those areas up a little bit more with that brighter white. Just think of the how the clouds are though. Like, where's the sun shining? Because that'll make a difference also. Hey, Devin. So that's this brush. So let's try a let's see if I've got a round brush that we can use a little bit. Show you different brushes. Don't know where all my brushes went. I wanted something a little bit still have to have a little bit of a stiffness to them. Oh, there's one. Okay, this is a Princeton Select Round Blender. So we'll do the same thing. So we'll take a little bit of this color here and we'll just do a little cloud underneath here. You'll find the right brush for whatever clouds you're doing. Just keep twirling that around till you find that there's hardly any kind of paint coming off of it. So you can do quite a big area without having to worry too much. Okay. You can take a little bit of the blue or a little bit more purple. A little bit of that underneath where it'd be a little bit of a darker area. You could do gray, you could do oh, there's lots of colors. Let's try a little bit of this blue with the purple. Make them up as far as shapes. It can be kind of easy to make the shapes all the same. So you kind of have to watch that. Just put a little bit on there. Then I'll pure white. So maybe there's, let's say the light's coming this way. So maybe there's some overlapping clouds there. A little bit brighter in there. Just round circles is what I'm doing. Can do a little bit of fuzz. Sometimes there's these little flyaway clouds here and there. There's many color combinations you can do. If you want a little bit more on the gray side, what you can do is add a little green to the purple, and that'll give you more of a grayish effect. Let's see if I can find a green here. White. Payne's gray. There. Nope, that's turquoise. There. Okay. I got a little bit of, what is this? Hooker's green. So just a smidge over here. Not much. So we mix a little bit of this green with this purple. A little bit of blue to it. Some white. It grays it down. So we can play with that. Let's make a threatening little cloud here. Maybe it's got dark underneath here. And you just take a little bit of that white and lighten that up again. And you can do little clouds above it maybe. Take some more white. Just keep playing with them. You kind of have to play. This one's too wet. Play with it until you decide what you like. And you can, if you want just really specific white areas, you could use a smaller brush too. Let's just dab a little bit in here. But you got to think about your light source. Maybe a little bit here. Give this a bit of a darkened area. And then a little bit of white. So see, there's many, many, many ways of just, I would suggest doing a whole page of different clouds and use different combinations of color. Let's put a little bit more sky in here so we can try some other types. Some white. A bit of water in my brush. So the lighter part is the closer to the horizon. Now you can also do wispy clouds too. And you could do it when this background is actually still wet. So you just use, they're usually kind of horizontal. They're not puffy, but just use a wet background and then just kind of lightly play with them a little bit. Now the bigger ones are always on the top, so the closest to you will be the big ones, and your smaller distant clouds are always on the bottom. I can't see that. Put something under the... Is that better? No, not really. I'm going to turn off the overhead light. That's better. Okay. So wispies. So I should dry that because it's starting to dry. So when you're, say, doing a sky that's got a lot of, maybe it's windy out, and they're kind of, I don't know how to, I don't know my clouds, but they're a little bit transparent looking, flat. So let's use my, yeah, this brush here, the bristle brush. Sometimes you'll see this. So they're kind of flat. So you can add a little bit here and there where they're a little bit thicker, but they usually don't have a lot. The best thing to do is get some pictures. So you can make them. So even though there's no wrong way of doing clouds, it's easier when you're painting them when you have something to go by. And that pretty well goes with anything, drawing wise, painting wise. Get a reference. You want something that's a little bit similar to what you're thinking in your mind, what you want to see. You can always change the reference photo. Now to soften that, you can just take a dry brush and just skip it across the clouds a little bit. If you wanted to add a little bit of drama to them, you can, like a sunset. It's the same way of doing this. just add a little bit of color. So you can add your see, golds and yellows. Orange is usually seen, or even down into your um, plum shades or peachy colors. Let's see. If I have a red. There's a red. So I have some yellow here. And a little bit of pyro red. Don't need a lot. So a sunset, you're probably going to see a little bit more of the yellows. So I'm just mixing the yellow with this white, because what was this one? This is a cabin yellow hue, but it's still transparent. So uh, you might have, I'm just going to paint over this here. A little bit yellow, more yellow. Maybe the sun is in here somewhere. Usually a little more yellow on the top. Then add a little bit of red to that. Get into the pinks. Pinks are usually closer to the bottom area, but not always. But I do see that normally. So maybe this is the bottom area of a lake. We have a lot of beautiful sunsets here in Canada on Lake Huron. And as you go up, the color will be on the bottom of the cloud, those bright red colors, because the sun is down now. It's going down, so you're going to see that color on the bottom of the ones that are above it. A bit deeper in here, I think. And you can get into purples and all kinds of colors. It's beautiful paintings, sunsets or sunrises. So let's make the sun down here just to give it a little more perspective here. The sun might be down here. More. A little brighter. A little more red just above it. It's just a beginner's way of trying. Just play. That's the only way you're gonna figure this out is by doing. So get, a few of the sunset pictures or go online, see what you can find. And it looks a little funny because I'm not going all the way across, but I think you get the gist of it. Let's make this a little bit purpler, maybe more white. It's lighter as you go out away from it. Maybe some blue. Purple. Kind of crazy looking because you're looking at that here. A little bit of white. There it is. Make this a little bit cloudier. So I'm just playing, basically. Let's dry that. I think I got too many streaks. So how would I fix that? Let's try something. You got a problem, try to work it out. They don't all turn out. So let's see what we could do. That's what I like to do. I like to work things out and see how to fix stuff. So I'm going to put probably a really dark. Let's mix this dark purple. I'm going to make this as the landscape. This could be water, it could be trees. Let's put a few trees in here. Okay, dry that. What can we do? See, not everything works out for me either. I think this needs to be much brighter in here, because that would be where the sun would be shining. You can always go back over with that blue, so I'm not worried about that. I'd rather get this on just so that it looks a little bit. So if the sun is shining, it kind of blurs out your vision of what's out there. Oop. Let's try that. Let's put a little bit more white on there. Right in here, because this would be the brightest area. And just swift it. That. And then just a smidgen of yellow on there, I think. Right in here. Now, let's see. I think we'd have, I'm going to cover this, kind of cover this up, but just along here. like that. And then take a little bit of that red with some white. I think I want a smaller brush. Maybe a filbert. Here's one. Maybe a little yellow in that too, just to give it a little bit more red. And a little bit of white. Now, I'm just gonna, sometimes you just see these little tiny areas. Just play till you like it. A little bit of white. Be a little lighter on the top part here. Just making a few clouds. Nothing big though, because these are kind of flat anyway, so you wouldn't have a bunch of different types, like big fluffy ones with horizontal ones. At least I don't think you would. Not a cloud expert, but sometimes you see them swooping, though. I've seen that. It's like you just have to play. Get a little bit of yellow in here. Some white. And you can get too carried away also. That's my problem. I don't know when to stop. Anyone else have that problem? I get carried away and, oh, this is fun. I want to make more. That's what I do. Okay, and then we'll just fix up those little trees we did here. Not all of them would show though, because sometimes you get that blurring effect in the landscape because of the brightness of the sun makes it harder to see. But I want these more or less silhouetted, a little darker. Just play. Experiment. Have fun with your stuff. Try different colors. I think that's not too bad. Kind of looks. I just learned more from you. Thank you. That's great. That's good to know, Dar. You never know. Because I'm learning too. You're never, ever finished with learning. You're always learning something. So when you're doing, say this was water here, when you're doing water, you have to take the same colors that you're using in the sky as you're doing the water. So because we would see the yellow reflecting, then you'd have to put some of that in. And then you would mix a little bit of that orange in the areas where you would see the orange. And kind of put it in like that. And you can get a lot more detailed, definitely. This is a quick demo. So you can play with yours. See what you can do. Like that. And you'd have other colors of water in there too, but that's a whole other lesson. But yeah, there you go. You would see some of these actually. You would see this. See this here? You would see that in the water. Say this is fairly still water. You would see the reflection wherever these peek over. And then, well, I'm not going to go into the water yet. I'll do another one. Oh, thanks, Devin. You guys are sweet. Okay, so there's that one. And there's, I should put a line. just so that you know it's different. Okay, so there's your fluffy clouds, and there's a sunset with kind of smaller horizontal clouds. All right, so this is a short stream this time. I find long ones aren't really great for YouTube. Nobody, nobody comes to the long ones as much as the shorter ones. So I'm going to try and do more lesson type things here, if that's what you like. Um, but give me some ideas. Put it in the comments down below of what you want to have a lesson on, so I can do a bit of planning and get all the stuff ready and put it in my future streams. All right, so I'll let you guys go, and you have a fantastic weekend. We're gonna have rain, but that's okay. Flowers need it. But great time to get out your sketchbook, do a little drawing, practice. Just enjoy your creativity. All right, thanks for coming, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.